Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this evening's broadcast on Maconi Entertainment. My name is Joey Atterbury, and I'm thrilled to be joined tonight in the booth by Trevor McClure and Ryan Bauer working the controls as our producer, the Bearded Sim Racer. The camera angles tonight are provided by Dougie Beard, and tonight's action comes to you live from the virtual Talladega Speedway. And we can't wait for the race action tonight. Talladega is a world-famous track known for high speeds and massive wrecks. Note that the start-finish line is actually past the curve in the tri-oval, which can lead to some incredible moves across the late finish line. iRacing does not employ a yellow line rule here, meaning that these drivers can go to the apron to advance their position without any sort of penalty. The finish here should be an incredible one, Trevor, and why don't you tell us a little bit about Talladega and what we might expect to see tonight?
Well, Talladega is the big one for a number of reasons. It is the longest NASCAR oval at 2.66 miles, so that's 0.16 miles longer than even the fabled Daytona International Raceway. Located in Talladega, Alabama, hence the name. The track was established in 1969, nice, with 175,000 seat capacity for configuration. Banking here is pretty gnarly at 33 degrees in the corners and 16 and a half in the tri-oval. So not only can these drivers carry a ton of speed through there, they can do it with confidence that the track is going to catch them through the corners. Interestingly enough, the fastest lap around Talladega is not a NASCAR of any sort. It's actually an old Porsche 917 prototype. They had a lap of 221.6 miles per hour. For reference, that is a solid 40 miles an hour average speed faster than these NASCAR trucks at a time set by Tyler Reddick back in 2014. This is a very fast track because it not only is big in size, it's big in speed, and the crashes here are big and they tend to collect a huge portion of the field. But thankfully for our competitors tonight, they have 3 fast repairs, so getting caught up in the big one is not a kiss of death here for these guys and gals racing tonight.
You're right. As we take a look at the little race analysis here, we're going to be doing 45 laps at Talladega, 100% fuel load, 3 fast repairs like Trevor was saying. There's going to be no tire limit out there, but with only 45 laps, I'm going to think that track position is going to be more important than tires. And most importantly, all of the competitors out there are on a fixed setup, so no open setups. All these trucks are going to be identical in terms of performance. It's going to be limiting the damage out there, and we do have the iRacing controlled yellow system, so hopefully if everybody cooperates out there, which we know that sim racing can be hectic at times, we might get a quick race, or things might get drug out a little bit here at Talladega. Like Trevor, you mentioned the big one can definitely happen at any point, and usually it's triggered by somebody more forward in the field. And looking at the results right now in qualifying, I think we've only got about 20 seconds left. I only see a handful of cars right now that have actually taken a time. I think about 13 trucks out there have put down a lap time. So I think a lot of these competitors are going to be starting from the back and watching it all through their windshield.
Yeah, it's not a bad strategy per se, but I think the number of cars that aren't putting a lap in, it's going to be a dicey one. Like you said, this place is known for cautions. Most cautions here in NASCAR races have been 11, and when they happen, they're lengthy because they're not 1 or 2 or 3 car crashes. They are multiple. So it's a lot of time to clean everything up, and with 45 laps, they go by pretty quick here. We could really eat into the clock and the lap count here with enough big yellows.
As we've got our starting grid on screen, starting on pole, the number 84 truck of Kyler Wynn, and next to him is going to be Zach Todriff in the number 54 truck out there. In that third position, Austin Key with Justin Botello next to him. Dylan Kame and Jim Clark there will round out the top 6. Dan Fowley and Mitchell Jones, John Freeman, Glenn Grimm in the top 10 there, Trevor.
And we go back with Alex C. Linney, Richard Clement, Johnny James, Simon Lindmark, Derek Justice, Eric Royce. Now we're working into the guys that did not post the time. We have Derek Lemmy 17th, Rick Cybrands II 18th, Travis Braden and Mike Little rounding out our top 20.
Yeah, there in 21st, we got Thomas Miller the 13th, Dan Clevitt, Brandon Gas, I'm sorry, and then we got Colton Ward, Corbin Hines, Michael Moody. A big shout out to Michael Moody. He is the one that's hosting this event right here. We'll get to him in just a minute. And then we got Sean McCara, Mark Mann, Dylan McDonald, and Ryan Elmore rounding out the top 30. Just cover the rest of these here in 31st. Jerry Parker, Michael Williams, Tyrone Reed. We got Natalie Decker the third. I think we got two other Natalie Deckers out there maybe as well. Back in 34th. 35th is Matt Wheeler, Levi Whitlock, and Austin Floyd is going to round out the 37 car field here at Talladega. We got Barney the flagman up there. All the trucks are gridded up right now. Look at this nice cool day that we got a 76 degree. Man, it'd be beautiful out there in Talladega right now. And as these trucks roll off for their pace lap, I just want to give a shout out to Maconi Setup Shop and Maconi Entertainment. You can always go visit them at www.maconisetupshop.com. And for everybody wondering, they do have subscriptions available if you're looking to take your iRacing to the next level and really up your speed out there. Go check out Maconi Setup Shop. They can help you with one-on-one coaching as well as maybe just getting your truck a little bit faster or car a little bit faster. And then also, if you're looking for any sort of broadcasting, make sure to contact them there at MaconiSetupShop.com. And then once again, Michael Moody, big shout out. Thank you for hosting this event. You can go over and catch his Twitch right now, twitch.tv/Moody_racing. You can ride on board with him. I think he's even got a sidekick out there. It's going to be pretty amusing to watch his Twitch channel throughout the race tonight, as I know he's going to bring a great comedic value.
Yeah, my shout out's going to Pinky, his sidekick, man. At the driver. I'm here for the show.
Well, yes, we've got 37 trucks right now, and yes, he does have a sidekick, I believe, with some pink headphones on right now. We got the lights off on the pace car. They're lined up 2x2. Trevor, we got a late green flag. What's going to be your prediction here on lap 1? Are we going to see chaos, or are we going to make it through?
Yeah, there aren't going to be a lot of people making it through, I don't think. I think we're going to see quite a bit of chaos. It's really easy to get sucked up into a draft. I mean, that's what you have to do at Talladega, but in doing that with these big trucks, you completely lose all your visibility. And I don't know how many of these guys have spotters, but there's really not going to be a lot of seeing what's in front of you if you're tucked in right behind the guy in front of you. So it's a precarious situation, and I think it's going to breed a lot of chaos here.
It looks like we're going to get one more lap under the pace car so we can fill a little bit more time here. And you're right, I think the big one can happen early, especially with the later green flag. I think we might see a little bit of an accordion effect as these trucks are going to come up to the green flag, which is always a little bit sketchy if you're in the back of the pack. You're anticipating that green flag to drop, so you might be kind of creeping up a little bit too much on the car in front of you, and before you know it, they're just kind of checked up and in your windshield, and you got damage on the front end of your truck. And you always got to remember, you got to get going before you can start to make those moves out there. But Trevor, you know how easy it is to get caught up in those accordion effects at the start.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the start is by far the riskiest time during any race, irrespective of whether it's NASCAR, whether it's sports car racing, touring car, anything where you're racing other people and not the clock. Start is where you take the most amount of risk here.
Not only that, but at a place like Talladega here, it's incredibly important to get linked up with your drafting partner or your drafting line, if you will, your drafting group. So you don't want to have these big separations between you and the car in front of you or behind you. So you're really trying to game it as much as you can. And then once again, before we go green flag racing here, I want to give another shout out to Pinky the sidekick out there at Michael Moody. Okay, he's going to be cheering Michael Moody on all race, and I know that Michael's starting back there in the 26th spot. The number 80 truck, I'm sure he'll get plenty of camera time back there, and he's going to have to work through the thick things and hopefully not get involved in the big one early on.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, if Pinky's doing his job, he's going to keep him out of trouble.
Well, as the bearded sim racer is telling us, we are getting ready to go green this time. cross your fingers, cross your toes, maybe say a little prayer, and we might make it through a lap out here, Trevor. And I'm really excited. This is a giant field, 37 cars, about to take the green flag here at Talladega. 45 laps tonight. We got some real professionals in this field. We got some awesome Twitch streams going on. You can catch this race from multiple different angles. We're here live on Maconi Setup Shop, Maconi Entertainment. The pace car is diving down towards pit lane as we speak. Right now, the number 84 truck of Kyler Wynn is going to lead the flag down, or lead the field down to the green flag. We're just waiting on Barney. He's got the green flag in his hand, and we are off right now, furiously waving that green flag. All 37 trucks look like they're going to take it under the start-finish for the first time, and they're starting to get lined up, maybe form a top line up there, but really out front right now, it's 2 by 2. Still leading the way, Kyler Wynn in the 84 truck. Looks like maybe the 66 of Austin Key is tucked up right behind him, as we're starting to see 2 lines, one on the yellow, and really a middle line form right now up front.
Yeah, and pretty well. If you weren't on the inside, the low line, outside of the top 10, you were getting swallowed up and just losing positions. We got 4 wide going through 3 at the front. Everybody in the back is settled out pretty well. 2 wide or single file down low and in the middle lane. That front cluster of the top 15 cars or so, they're trying to go 3 wide and 4 wide here, and at my count, there's only 3 lanes, so this could get dicey here.
Well, I think you're seeing a little foggy. I'm seeing about 4 or 5 lanes if you really push the limit out there, Trevor. And I think we're going to see plenty of pushing, as we've got 3 lanes of racing going on in this front path right now. I'm going to guess it's probably about 15 trucks in that front group, this front draft pack, hauling the mail down the back straightaway. Really, it's anybody's game. I think we're going to see this lower yellow line prevail through the corners, the shorter distance around. Really, the middle line kind of holds steady, but it's all about working that draft partner in that draft group, as we see these trucks on the low line really form up with 3 in a row, start to stretch it out and gain that momentum over those other 2 lines.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That center lane is really working together with the lower lane and just getting that side draft and working together. Because the upper lane, they've been more separated from the middle, and they're not getting that advantage of the side draft, so they're having to punch their own hole there, and that's why you see that top line kind of sliding back just a little bit. I think if they tuck down the south just a little bit on that middle lane, they'd get a little bit more speed here.
Oh, as we got a wreck going on in the back. Not sure who that was. Looks like maybe Mitchell Jones in the 2, Corbin Hines in the 01. We stay green on the racetrack as of right now. Not too many cars involved. Still up front, a big, huge draft battle. Really starting to have that lower line eke out. Maybe 2 trucks now are clear of this middle line, and I think it's really just working together as we see the middle line. We're looking back from our leader on the 84, Kyler Wynn, but that middle line is really starting to gain a little bit more momentum right now, and they're going to come up and maybe challenge for the lead as we get a battle down into turn 1.
Yeah, I think right now the low line's the place to be, but we'll see as the tires wear here how well that plays out. Those guys in the low line start sliding up the racetrack. They're not going to have much room to go before they start running into that middle lane and outside lane of cars, and then that's how the big one starts to develop, just like a tropical storm to a hurricane in the middle of the Caribbean. You can kind of see it happening. So we'll keep our eyes on that lower lane, but right now it's got the speed, got the tires underneath them. That's the place to be. You see the leader in that upper line. He's just found himself now in the middle lane, but they've shuffled back from 3rd overall now to 9th. That upper lane's not the place to be.
You bring up an interesting point with the tire wear, and really being able to hold the truck on the bottom lane is really, all of these competitors are doing a great job right now. I'm amazed at the racing and how close they're able to keep all these trucks. And I also think it has to go with the aerodynamic package that NASCAR has and that iRacing is doing right now, that these trucks seem pretty stable out there as they're pushing. And really, right now, that middle line is actually overtaken for the lead, but just kind of seems to run out of steam as the lower line once again starts to gain here as they go through turns 3. But Right now, that number 6 truck all the way on the top line has been hooked up with the number 31 on screen. They've really been pushing hard, and they've pushed that outside lane, and we've got a battle 3 wide as we come through the tri-oval one more time here on lap 5. Going to go complete lap number 5 right now. New leader to the point, number 66, Austin Key, in that middle lane with an aggressive push behind him. Still 3 wide battle up front. That's the 82 on the bottom, the 66 in the middle, and the number 6 up top. That's triple sixes in the top 2 lanes, Trevor. That's trouble.
Oh yeah, that's real big trouble. I don't know what God you pray to, but that's not good in any religion. Now we're 3 wide, neck and neck, nose to nose going into 3 here, and that is usually
We got a
trouble. We got a big
from
one.
the
There it
bottom
is.
lane.
There
Yes.
it is.
The big one has been caused out there. We got a yellow flag on the racetrack. Almost all of the trucks are involved. Looks like the 44, the 25 are getting the worst of it as they're parked here at the exit of turn 4. Looks to me like just a truck on the bottom lane got a little bit loose here as we're gonna get a replay here of all of this action. Maybe check the 25, the green, the white and green car. Oh, it unfolds right in front of him. Actually, the middle lane, that black and turquoise number 23 might have came down a little bit, and chaos after that.
Yeah, that was pretty wild, and that's, as I was saying, as it happened, that's sort of what happens when you've got so many lanes of cars so clustered together in there, nose to tail, and, I hate to say it, I think tire wear was a bit of a factor there, and, guys not being able to hold their lane and getting into another lane where there wasn't space for them, and that's how it all unfolds. But yeah, if you were behind the top 9, you were either involved or you were dodging bullets out there with that wreck.
Yeah, as we take another look, I mean, look at how huge this big front draft pack really is. We're going to ride on board this outside lane as it unfolds here to the left. Look at the 23 car just get turned, and we just barely squeak by this wreck. Oh, looks like he does end up getting turned, involved in it, but everybody really from that, Lee called it the 4th line on back, affected from that wreck.
Yeah, and you hate to see it, but that 23 truck was in that center lane, and he just had a little help from down low. Not sure if there was a little driver error, or if it was just the truck not sticking like it had in previous laps, but that's exactly what happened there, and it was just bedlam from there. Like I said, you're either hitting another truck or hitting the wall, or you were dodging bullets.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Tyrone Reed right there that we just saw the replay. Lots of trucks hit pit road after that, Trevor. Like you said, probably going to come down, take 4 new fresh tires. There is no tire limit down here, so might as well get brand new rubber on the car, get back out there, and then anybody who is damaged, they're going to use those fast repairs, get it fixed back up, and be up to speed. But like I was saying before this, shout out to Tyrone Reed. He was doing everything right there at that wreck. He checked up, he slowed way down, and still got involved at the end. What a bummer.
Yeah, and that's sometimes, and this as a driver, there's just nothing you can do about it. You've got nowhere to go. And tight pack racing on 33-degree banking, super speedway here at Talladega, you really have nowhere to go, especially if you're in the middle lane of 3. I mean, as a spotter, there would be nothing you could say to help him out there in that situation, other than to just hold on, close your eyes, and clutch your belts.
I agree, and want to give a shout out because we just had 6 laps of green flag racing of some of the closest we can pack trucks here at Talladega, doing 185 miles an hour or so, and I was not expecting to see that. I love watching these trucks out there. I was expecting to see a little bit more crashy crash, but it looks like Pinky has everybody in line over there, and everybody racing right.
Oh, that's right. Pinky's going to keep everybody in the straight and narrow here, and you're right. It's unexpected, but it's welcome to see. 6 laps here, Talladega. There's the real NASCAR guys can't do that half the time. So, big shout out to everybody. I mean, the front pack was 25 trucks deep, which is just incredible when you think about it, and really just not surprised that this didn't happen sooner. So big shout out to all the competitors for keeping it clean keeping it tight for that long. That's truly an achievement.
Now, with that being said, coming to the checkered flag, I expect a full true iRacing finish out there. So I'll keep my fingers and toes crossed, but we still are under this yellow flag right now. Want to give, once again, a shout out to the host of this event here, Maconi Setup Shop, as we're riding along board with the number 32 of Natalie Decker. Looks like she's going to be coming in the pits. You were talking about real professionals out here, Trevor, and this is awesome to have somebody like Natalie Decker out here at this event. You know, she does this for a living. She's out there as a professional. And then also a huge shout out to the number 80 truck right now on screen, Michael Moody. He is the guy behind this event. He's the one putting it all on. And if you're interested in going and checking out his sidekick Pinky over there, go over to his Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Moody_racing. And you can catch all the live action from his point of view. And once again, MaconiSetupShop.com. If you're looking to upgrade your own sim experience and take your lap times down a little bit, go check out the subscriptions that they have available over at MaconiSetupShop.com. And if you have a league or are interested in any broadcast information of special events, make sure to go check out Maconi Entertainment, also available on that same website, MaconiSetupShop.com. Now, Trevor, looks like we're getting some things lined back up. I think I see the pace car lights are out, 2x2. We gonna get chaos again or what?
Well, yeah, I mean, the old adage, cautions breed cautions, I think is in effect here. Again, it's Talladega. This 2 wide's going to go to 3 wide as soon as they possibly can. I see these 3 lanes form up going into 1 through 2. Again, I think it's very easy to make a mistake, especially since a lot of these competitors, in fact, all of them except our previous low lane leader, Austin Key, came and took new tires, and they're going to be cold. They're not going to be up to temperature, and they're not going to have the same grip as was expected last time. So, yeah, I think we're in a more challenging position than we were even at the start. It's almost like we've hit a reset button because there's only 1 car now off the lead lap. So this is essentially a fresh race.
You're right, it is a fresh race, and we got the pace car now diving down to pit road. We're going to line all 36 of these trucks up 2x2, a little bit longer on that bottom lane there, but once again, here at Talladega, the start-finish line isn't until after the tri-oval, and Barney already has the green flag in hand. He's waving it, and Austin Key in the number 66 will lead this field down to the green flag. Already seeing a lane up top start to form as they head into turn 1. These trucks are going to be accelerating up through this first lap here, so people are just kind of jockeying for a position based on the momentum that they have on the jump of the start. But really right now I still see that bottom lane with that middle lane challenging right now. Kyler winning that 84 truck, kind of pushing his way out in front right now. The middle lane starting to be dominant, but I'm curious to see the shorter way around. Yep, we're going to see Austin Key in that 66 start to take over the lead once again.
Yeah, and remember, Austin Key's got 9-lap older tires than everybody else, too, as he looks to take the middle lane. We're 4 wide approaching the start-finish line, going for 4 lanes here.
You're
Man,
right,
this is interesting. The high line has taken the lead because there's been more takers now. They've got a flow. They've got enough buddies up there pushing the issue. We see a change where the low line is no longer the good line.
It was really interesting to see Austin Key really make that move from the low line to the middle line coming up out of the tri-oval there. I was curious to see, maybe it's tire wear, maybe he's not comfortable with his car on the bottom on that restart. We still have 3x3x3x3 racing right now. That's 4 rows of 3 wide. In fact, make it 5 rows of 3 wide right now for this front pack racing for the lead. Looks like we got the new number 13 of Justin Botello on the bottom, leading the way currently on timing and scoring, but honestly, give it to any one of this front row here, because I think things can change really quick just with a little bit of a bump or maybe even side contact, and we're going to see another big one as, ooh, got a truck down on the apron there. That was close.
Yeah, you're right, but I think at the moment my money's on the middle lane. What I'm seeing is they've got the advantage where it counts at the stripe. So if I were if I were out there or I were spotting for someone out there, I would really have these guys focus on getting to the middle lane and getting to the front of the middle lane, because I think at the end of the day, it's going to be the one that prevails at the stripe on the final lap.
I think so too, but it's really interesting to just see the ebb and the flow right now between the bottom lane, the middle lane, and the top lane. Is really they've all got about the same amount of support. You really see the first 3 rows of 3x3 stacked up and linked up pretty good. So neither one of these lanes is really able to charge ahead of another, but right now, because they're stacked up 3x3, it's grown from that pack of maybe 15, 20 cars to the entire field right now. There might be a couple cars that have lost the draft there in the back based off of strategy, but oh my gosh, look at this. We got all 36 cars under one blanket as one dives down into the apron to avoid a wreck.
Oh yeah, we're looking at 5 wide. There's a car parked down in the apron at 3. That's not a great spot. But you're right. Looks like we've still held on to the top 30 cars in a single frame here, and like the history has told us, that can spell caution. As we look to try to make 4 lanes here, thinking better of it, back to 3 lanes as they approach turn 1. Well, that middle lane's got a nose ahead of everybody else right at the stripe, and that's where it's going to count. But it's also the lane with the least number of trucks in it right now, so they might be losing a lot of energy to the outside and the inside lanes here. We'll see how this pans out.
I'm seeing a new leader up front, a new face. That is the number 36 truck of Thomas Miller, the 13th. There's 12 other Thomas Millers out there. This is the 13th one, but he's in that green truck in that middle lane, really taking the fight up to the front. We saw him charge up and start to lead a little bit on the back straightaway now. Through turns 3 and 4, falls back a little bit just based off of the momentum and the distance of the track. But now that we got the straightaway coming up through the tri-oval, really see that number 36 truck start to gain that momentum back. Maybe even lead this lap here as we cross the line. We're working lap 15 currently of 45.
That's right, and you notice there he's leading the middle lane and he's leading the pack across the stripe. But again, I think there's going to be a detriment to that middle lane if they continue to lose car count. There's only 5 there in line with them, soon to be 6. Everybody seems to be populating that lower lane, and we've got a few takers now on the high line too.
Yeah, as we see actually the 36 jump from that middle lane down to the bottom as they dive down into turn 3. Interesting move there, but I understand that one. The bottom lane has really been faster through the turns, while the middle lane is kind of carrying the momentum down the straightaway. Is the number 66 of Austin Key, once again, who led the majority of the beginning of the race, now takes the fight back. And Trevor, once again, you called it. That middle lane, once it comes to that start-finish line, is dead neck and neck with that bottom lane. I think that's a great strategy call on the momentum to maybe be looking out to get your truck in that middle lane.
That's it. And again, Austin Key was leader of the middle lane. He crossed the start-finish line first that last lap. He was scored as the leader, and I think that's really going to be a factor here. If you're leading that middle lane on the last lap, or a big one at the start-finish line, or a bit of contact, I think that's going to be the place to be at the end of the race.
I agree, as we see looks like the 84 on timing and scoring move up to that middle lane from the bottom lane. He jumped up. He's going to lead this lap, what it looks like here. New leader, number 84, Kyler Wynn, to the point in that middle lane. He jumped up in front of the 66 of Austin Keys, but right now the number 9 on the high side with a big push from the 31 on screen. I know that timing and scoring doesn't always match up with the cars that we're seeing on screen, but right now we got 3x3x3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows of 3x3 action, battling it out down here at Talladega. Dive into turn 3. That 82 truck on screen, 84 on timing and scoring. That's the silver and red truck. Kyler Wynn kind of swapping lanes between the middle and the bottom, and now we see the 36 really make an aggressive move to the middle, maybe lead this lap.
Yeah, Miller is still trying to figure out which lane. I think Kyler Wynn the same, but again, Thomas Miller crosses the stripe first there, and that's when it matters. But let's not forget Austin Keys second place in that middle lane. and he's the only one that's still on the tires he started this race on. So, I mean, really impressive drive from him to keep that truck underneath of him and up front with all of these other killers that have newer equipment than he does.
Yeah, definitely. And if you guys want an idea of how chaotic this is, you know, if we go along right on board with maybe the number 54 out there of Zach Todriff, he looks like to be in the third lane, right smack in the middle. And look at this. We got trucks in front. We got trucks on the front fenders. We got trucks on the doors. We got trucks on the rear quarters. There's not very much room to move around out here. You got to be on top of your game. And once again, just a shout out to all of the competitors. It is not easy to do this, guys. And these trucks are going around, I'm looking right now, 184 miles an hour as we go through turns 2, going out onto the back straightaway. Really just a shout out to this entire field right now. Great racing.
Yeah, and we've got some lane changers here. Thomas Miller, unsurprisingly, went from middle lane to lower lane. And we've got Dylan Kem coming down from the top lane to lead Austin Key in that middle lane. I think it's he's going to find himself scored in first here, and Miller's going to lose out. The top lane seems to catch up only just, but then they lose out once they get to corner entry and exit. And yeah, here we go. Middle lane crosses the stripe first. So I think that's it's really painting the picture of where you need to be at the end of this race. But as we see here, low lane good on entry, middle lane's moderate, the high lane loses out, and then they all tend to equalize on the exit. But I think the middle lane is the place to be. If I were out there, I had a guy out there, that's where I tell him to go.
Right you are, Trevor. You know, that was a great spotter's call. One of the reasons why I love having you in the booth, and for everybody that doesn't know, Trevor is a real-world spotter out there. Got lots of championships to his name, 24 Hours of Daytona wins, you know, Sebring wins, Petite wins. I mean, this guy has been around the block out here, and watching him strategize and call this race and see how it is, let's see if this middle lane once again leads this lap here. And sure enough, once again, middle lane crosses the start-finish line first. So if you're looking for a strategy to cross the start-finish line first, you're right, Trevor. That middle lane really is where you want to be. But I don't know if you can feel it coming in the air tonight right now, but things are starting to pick up right now. The bumps are starting to get a little bit more aggressive. That top lane is starting to crowd the middle lane more through the tri-oval and get more aggressive with the side drafting. I feel like things are just starting to pick up a little bit. Maybe there's another big one just waiting to happen.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong there. I think, too, you see a lot of these guys towards the back of this pack, maybe 12th to 15th. They're running with a bit more momentum than the cars in front, and they're running out of places to go. You see cars looking down on the apron, which is legal here at Talladega. You got cars exiting pit lane. Some of these guys might be looking to make a fourth lane here where there might not necessarily be room. We got a touchdown there. Back in the 12th, and there's another big one.
Yeah, looks like we got a yellow flag on the racetrack, just like you called it right there, Trevor. You were watching the action, and I'm sure we're going to get a replay here. Looks like the number 6 truck with heavy damage back there, the black and red truck I'm seeing. See if we can pick out which truck really started this. Looks like maybe Michael Moody was involved as well. I'm seeing his truck a little bit slower out there. As it looks like, yeah, as we head down here, Trevor, you really caught this firsthand.
Yeah, you saw one car on the low line get nice and wiggly back there. It was a black truck, didn't get a number on it. But he dropped down onto the apron in the middle of the corner, which, as you know, having run Daytona yourself, there's a very sharp transition from the apron to 30-plus degrees of banking, and I think it just upset the truck. It shot him back up the track. He caught a couple of trucks in the middle lane, and then from there was variable track blockage, and all the trucks behind were either passengers or they were dodging bullets out there like Neo from the Matrix.
Michael Moody certainly looked like Neo from the Matrix. Maybe he had a little bit of help there from his sidekick, but he really had it all unfold right in front of him as you saw just a couple cars maybe got down on the apron. It really developed from the bottom and then escalated all the way up through the lanes up top. And think about maybe 10 or so cars involved here as we see the middle lane just get a little crowded and then, ooh, just get collected up in the top lane. And really, there's nothing that you can do at that point. You know, you can try to avoid the wreck, but it's more like take a breath, cross your fingers, and just kind of hope you escape and get out of that funnel zone that is the impact crash area.
Yeah, and that's really the thing is incident avoidance like that at this high speed again, nosed up to someone, you've got no visibility whatsoever, so it's really just guesswork. But you've got to take a lane, you've got to pick it, stick with it, and hope that you come out with no damage, come out unscathed. Because again, with these trucks sailing back up the track and heavy banking, you don't know that all of the wrecked cars are going to go upwards or towards the outside of the turn. They're going to go every which way but loose. And so there's no way to predict it. You're just kind of putting your foot down, hoping for the best, really.
You're right, you called it. And this time, during yellow flag, we have all of the trucks taking to pit road, so everybody's going to grab a fresh set of tires. Gotta love the unlimited tire budget in racing. Would love to have that in real life. And if anybody had any damage, they're going to use one of the 3 fast repairs that they have available to them. And just want to give a shout out. I see that there are actually some really cool cash prizes tonight. P1 is going to be taking home $100, second place $60, and third place $40 tonight. So there is cash on the line for the top 3 winners out here. Once again, shout out to Michael Moody. I believe he's in that number 80 truck out there. We've rode on board with him a few times. He's the guy who's really putting on this event. If you're curious about catching up with him and all the action that he's got going on from his point of view, go on over to twitch.tv/Moody_racing and ride along board with him. And if you want to learn more about the host tonight on the entertainment side of the broadcast, go check out www.MaconiSetupShop.com. If you're interested in any sort of broadcasting about the sim racing here, they've got everything that you need. Also, if you're just looking to shave some lap time off, maybe get a little bit better on the racing yourself, they also have subscriptions available to maybe get you a little bit faster and maybe even one-on-one coaching. So make sure to go on over to www.MaconiSetupShop.com and see everything that they offer. And still under yellow flag out here, Trevor. Pace car lights are still on. We're going to get one more time around. Only 22 laps to go. We've gone over halfway. It's been incredible racing out there. I'm expecting to see the same. You expecting to see maybe the pace get picked up at all?
Yeah, I think we're going to see much of the same probably for the next 10 to 12 laps. And then when we get to the final 8 or so, I think the gloves are going to start coming off. The great thing about this being such a large track is despite all of this carnage that we've had so far, there's still 34 of our 36 cars on the lead lap, and the fast repairs are really keeping a lot of these guys and gals in the race. So we've got a great show here because again we've hit the reset button, and now instead of a 45 lap race, we've got a 20 lapper. And I think one interesting thing that we should point out: the top 4 in the order now are the top 4 qualifiers. However, you get back to 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Those trucks qualified 13th, 27th, 21st, and 22nd, respectively. So, no, it's kind of the same old story at the front. The top 4, just top 2 rows on the start, you've got really anybody's game from there back. And looking at the lap times and the pace, there's not really a huge advantage other than just continuity and consistency of those top 4.
Yeah, you got to be able to read the field, know who's around you, and that's what's going to equate to speed. Because you're right, Trevor, if you have unknowns around you, or maybe they can't link up and push you like you need to, you're not going to get that forward momentum that you need at a drafting track such as Talladega. But I'll also play devil's advocate. They might have not qualified and they've worked their way up there. Maybe those are going to be the fast trucks that we got to keep an eye on, and they're just are finally found their way up to the front now.
Yeah, no, I think it's it. I think they've worked their way up there, and one of those trucks being Thomas Miller the 13th, who's led a number of laps here. He's currently 7th, but he's led laps, and he qualified 21st. So I think, your qualifying position here is not really reflective of your outcome. As we come to the green flag here, again, we're delayed because that start-finish line is after the peak of the tri-oval here, which is a unique feature to Talladega. We're back to green here. 2 lanes, soon to be 3, possibly 4. See a lot of takers there for the de facto middle lane. Inside lane's looking really light. A lot of guys liking that middle. We've got a few takers up high now, but I don't think there's enough there just yet to warrant it. As we've sort of equalized here. We've got equal cars, lower, middle, and high line. High line's gaining some momentum, but looking right now, the middle lane's still the place to be. We've got about 20 cars in this lead pack, Joey. 3 wide all the way across, about 6 deep. What are you thinking here, man?
Yeah, this restart was actually a little bit more calm than I was expecting to see, and I saw that 84 of Kyler Quinn, which is actually the 82 on the screen, jump to that middle lane, which negatively affected him down the back straightaway, but now we're starting to see that middle lane gain back that momentum, Trevor, like you called it, and really here through the tri-oval is where it has its speed, and looks like once again that middle lane of 84, Kyler Quinn is going to take to the stripe first. So once again, if you're looking for that strategy to get out front, if you can't run away in your single lane, I think the middle lane is where you want to be, as we see the bottom lane really succeed through the turns, through turns 1 and 2, get ahead, but the middle lane once again charges back down the straightaway. These guys are doing 189 miles an hour right now off into turn 3, 3 by 3. Right now, the 84 actually dives back down to the bottom. That's a momentum call, Trevor, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think so, but watch as Austin Key here in the orange truck leading the center lane is coming right back at him. Full head of steam, and he's going to get a nose ahead right at the line where it matters. I think that was a bad call by Kyler Quinn to take that lower lane, because as we've seen, they just can't quite get it done. They're quicker through the corner a bit, into it, but when it comes to getting to the end of the straightaways or to the point of the tri-oval where it matters most, that middle lane's got the most energy, it's got the most speed, it's the place to be. I mean, really, and the lower lane doesn't have enough of an advantage to get a full car or truck length ahead of the center lane leader, take that position away from them. There's not enough cars. Well, maybe now we've had a few takers to the outside lane. That's really the only hope you have of getting into the lead of the center lane, is being leading in the high lane, taking your momentum to clear that truck in the middle, just on the exit of the corner, and chop him down and take that position for yourself.
Once again, that middle lane with the number 66 of Austin Key leads the lap, as we see the 84, the 82 on the screen, the silver and red truck. That's 84 on timing and scoring. What's displayed on the truck is different. That is Austin Key and Kyler Quinn battling it out. Once again, the 66 in the middle lane, that's the orange truck that we're seeing get pushed down the back straightaway. Austin Key, they're going to probably once again lead this lap. We really see that the bottom lane go faster through the corners, but the middle lane once again prevail down the straightaways as we get a lane change here. Looks like the 84 of Kyler Quinn jumped up to that middle lane, maybe is listening into the broadcast, putting it to the test here. And yes, the 84 will lead this lap. And Trevor, yeah, man, I got to give it to you. That was a great eye on the catch at the beginning. And let me tell you, when you're in the driver's seat and you're in that middle lane, you say, hey, look at that bottom lane, accelerate through the corner. I know that I can jump to the bottom lane, accelerate through the corner, and then move back up to the middle groove when I need to. But nobody has been able to do that yet. It's really been pick to your lane and stick there.
Yeah, and if we've seen a lane change, it's not been up, it's been down. So that was really interesting to see Kyler Quinn be able to retake the lead on that center lane. He just had enough momentum just to clear himself
Trevor,
of
we've
Austin
got
Peay.
4 wide now.
Oh,
And we
I
got
see it. Oh, we got some
looks like
wiggles. We got some contact.
Yep, that was just a mess through the tri-oval. 4 wide coming out of 4, lots of trucks involved. We saw that one developing just as they started to go 4 wide. I want to say it was that green truck. I want to say maybe the 13 or the 36. I can't remember what it was, but it was a bright green truck that was right up there at the top. And they try to go 4 wide here through the tri-oval. It's going to develop on the left side of your screen here. Just some door banging goes on, and really once that door banging goes on, the loads get transferred left to right through the lanes, and you can be a passenger and not even see it coming.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And again, if you were outside of the top 9 there, you were either involved or dodging. That was that's what happens at the Dega.
Just trucks going everywhere, riding on board with Wheeler there, as it looks like he actually gets through pretty clean. Great job there of accident avoidance. It is so easy to get caught up in one of these. Good job on the number 41 truck right there. It looks like we're going to catch the 80 of Michael Moody here as he maybe approaches this wreck one more time. We're going to get the nice fixed camera finish. Look at these trucks coming at you 180 miles an hour, just a mess in the Costco parking lot down there.
Yeah, well, it's always a mess in any Costco parking lot, especially on the weekends. It's thankfully these guys have fast repair. That's something you don't get at Costco. No membership can buy that. But we'll be interested to see how many takers we have for new tires here. It looks like just about anybody that was outside of that original top 9 is going to come in for tires, which I think is very sensible decision. A lot of these guys have been sideways, lock them down, probably flat spotted, and new in almost every situation is typically better. So very interesting call here. I think a lot of people in the back are doing the right thing to give themselves the best opportunity to better themselves once we go green here.
One thing that you can get at Costco is that brand new set of tires out there. So that's exactly what they're doing. Might even grab a hot dog while you're in. And I heard that place actually makes a really nice sauce if you're looking for a chicken sandwich,
You gotta try it, man.
Shout out to Ricky Bobby there. But we got 14 laps to go here at Talladega, working this virtual event for Michael Moody. So pumped to be here. The action has been nonstop. We got real professionals out there. We got lots of Twitch streams going on. So if you guys are curious at all, make sure to go check out some other points of view from the Hot Mom 45 here at virtual Talladega Raceway. It's been nonstop 3-wide action. We just saw 4-wide. It ended in tears. I'm sure we're going to see 4-wide a little bit more again, Trevor. Maybe these guys learned a little bit from that. Maybe save it to 1 or 2 laps to go. But being a racer, when you put that helmet on, I always want to go for a gap. And when you have that momentum in these draft packs, it's really tough not to take that opportunity when it presents itself. But I think that the key to tonight's race has been patience more than anything.
Yeah, especially, and to that, Austin Key has really shown that, I think, the most. He's kept himself in that top 5. He's led a number of laps. He's really stuck to that middle lane. So I think he's really someone to watch. And just like the lanes at Costco, you can't get 4 carts wide. You can only get 3, and I think these guys have to remember that. Talladega, it's got 4 painted lines and lanes at the start on the tri-oval here, but you get to the corners, that goes back down to 3, and there's good reason here. As we go back to green, 2 wide, again, soon to be 3, if not 4 here, if these guys don't keep their heads about them. Really late green here, as, again, that start-finish line is late in the tri-oval. Big jump there from Kyler Wynn. Great start. He's taking ownership of that middle lane. He's got a couple of guys challenging now. The high lane has now become the middle lane. The nice little 2-wide pack. We got a couple of loaders there on the high line further back, outside of the top 10. Now we start to file out. We got a little contact from the wall. White truck P12, it looks like.
Yeah, we do have a new player out front right now. That is the number 56 of Dean Clavitt leading the way in that middle line. And he opts to choose for that bottom groove. Gets a huge shove from the 82 on screen, and that's going to send him up into the wall. I don't know how he avoided the rest of the field as everybody takes avoiding action as we do have a yellow flag on the racetrack. Looks like he just came down to the bottom line and got a huge shove from that 84 or 82. 82 on the screen, 84 on timing and scoring. Now watch, we're going to
number one in your hearts.
Yeah, the leader dip down here. He's going to get a big bump, which is going to really upset him. Oh, second bump is where it got him. Hooked him in the right side of the bumper, and man, that's a big impact. Thankfully, they got a reset button, and it's virtual.
Yeah, the safer barriers are softer in the E world. Yeah, certainly. It was that first shove that got him down onto the apron, and like we talked about earlier, there is a very sharp transition from 33 degrees of banking to a flat apron, and that doesn't do anything but upset the car. And as he makes that transition and tries to get back, he gets a second bump, and that's what sends him right into the wall, and then everybody else is just a passenger from there.
Yeah, looks like a few more trucks got collected. I believe that's the 31, the blue and white truck that we're seeing on screen. Believe it was the 31, I'm not sure there. A couple other trucks maybe affected there. I think that might have been, was that Natalie Decker in the blue truck that was affected? I think it might have been, but they'll dip down to pit road, get that fast repair, get the truck fixed up, back out onto the racetrack, up at full operating speed, and the laps are starting to wind down. Oh, that was not Natalie Decker. I misspoke there. There she is in the number 32 truck. Want to give a shout out to her right now. Natalie Decker official, as you see back there on the back of her truck on that Twitch stream. She's up inside the top 10. She's actually in 8th place right now. And for all of you confused, that is Natalie Decker the third. There might be 2 other ones out there, but I'm pretty sure that's the official one.
The real Natalie Decker, please stand up. And that tailgate of hers is not looking the best. So she's obviously had a bit of impact from the rear. Could be cars or trucks avoiding that last incident. So really impressive to see that much bodywork damage and still holding a top 10 position here with 11 to go.
Yeah, looks like she's actually going to cycle all the way up to maybe 6th place is what I'm seeing. We're getting updates on timing and scoring as all of these trucks work their way around under these yellow flag laps here at Talladega. Going to be coming up.
I think we're too...
Go ahead, Trevor.
We're too short from the last stop. A lot of these trucks, Natalie herself included, took tires that last stop, so there's really not anything to be gained except a track position loss taking a pit stop here. So I think we're going to see everyone settle in where they are, at least in the top 25. But again, as we go back to green here, as we approach it, we've got effectively every car still running on the lead lap. So now we've shortened our race from 45 laps to 11, shuffled up the order, and it's anybody's game here.
Yeah, not only 11 laps to go, but they're going to be coming to 10 laps to go here. Now, I'm not sure. I'll have to look up to see what the green-white checkered flag rules are tonight. I know that we got the iRacing cautions, but I have to see if these guys and gals have any more extra shots, just in case we get a few more yellow flags out there. But Barney, up in the flag stand, I know has been patiently waiting. He is always ready to do his job out there. Pace car is leading the field of 36 trucks right now. I think I'm still seeing everybody on track right now. There looks to be maybe one truck, maybe 1 or 2 trucks a couple laps down, but I still think I see all 36 on track right now, which is a fantastic showing. Starting to line themselves up 2 by 2, come through the tri-oval. Start-finish line, we've talked about it, is further down past the tri-oval here, but Barney likes to give him a little bit of a jump as he's going to start waving the green flag here. And we've got racing once again for the Hot Mom 45 here at Talladega Speedway. The number 84 truck of Kyler Wynn is going to lead the field here on the restart. The 31 of Derek Justice also up there, followed by the 13 of Justin Botello. 2x2 racing right now. We got the 82 truck on screen. That's 84 on timing scoring for everybody following along. That's the middle lane in that silver and red truck, and then we got the black truck on the bottom there starting to gain the momentum. I think through turn 3 and 4 we're going to see that black truck start to pull ahead a little bit, but we're going to see the strategy from the spotter's guide of Trevor. Is Kyler Wynn going to lead this lap?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if you notice there on the start, he started on the low lane. He started inside and immediately went to that middle lane at his first opportunity. He's got a full truck length now on the inside lane, no contest. He's gonna win. He's gonna win this lap, and he's got 9 more to go to the finish. But I think if he holds his station here, that's gonna be the place to go. And you notice we have no upper lane right now. There's no high line. We're 2 lanes, and that's really gonna help that center lane, I think, because there aren't trucks on the upper lane taking energy away from that middle. There's no side draft going on to sort of stop the air from flowing off of those cars in the previously categorized middle lane, which is now the high lane. Yeah, I mean, I think it's if there isn't an upper lane that develops, there's really not going to be much hope for that lower lane, I don't think.
What I'm seeing out of turn 4 right now is really looks like the 54 of Zach Todriff is pushing that lower lane. They're just simply hooked up better than the middle lane right now. And look at this, little bit of maybe judgment calls out of the middle lane. They're looking at that bottom lane. Oh my gosh, look at it. All of a sudden it's gained all this momentum. Do we need to scatter? Do we need to go down there? Do we need to form the high lane? And that's really killed that momentum of Kyler Wynn there in the 84. But as we see once again, down the back straightaway, if you just take a breath, be patient, that middle lane really starts to gather that momentum back up. And now we see the 84, the 31, and the 66. Those 3 have really been regular players, as it looks like we're going to have the high line form now with the 31 of Justice. He wants to take the fight to the lead and maybe get a few trucks hooked up on that top line. That's the 66 of Austin Key in that orange truck. Maybe try to get a top speed line going up, but once again, the middle lane prevails.
Yeah, and that was interesting because the high lane, as we have a big wreck.
Yes. Once again, the Austin Key, the 54, lots of big names get involved. If you're in the third row or back, you are involved in this one. I'm seeing all sorts of red on timing and scoring right now. About 15 cars involved in this one. Huge wreck here at Talladega.
That was everybody outside of the top 5 that time.
Yeah,
really everybody.
Replay here. What I saw is that 84 of Kyler Wynn, who bumped the first car, if we remember a few laps ago, also had some contact up there with another car as they were trying to form that top line. And I think that's really what set it off up there, is just maybe a little bit of contact or some side drafting from that 84 of Kyler Wynn. And then everything behind that is just dominoes.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, there was just bedlam, and there was so much. There was 100% or more track blockage at certain points. So really the definition of nowhere to go. I think our biggest loser there was Natalie Decker the third. She found herself. Actually, no, she's recycled 3 to 12, so she didn't lose too much. But Austin Key, another big loser there in the deal. He's still sitting in pit lane. I think he might be out of repairs, or he just might be too badly damaged. But that was a front runner and lap leader so far in this race, finding himself certainly imminent retirement.
Look at this view from Natalie Decker. Oh my gosh. I want to watch that one again and let people once again just witness the chaos that is Talladega. She made it through clean somehow. Right on board, coming through the tri-oval right now. We're going to be dipping down to turn 1 and just watch. Everything in front of you turns to smoke. We got 35 trucks that's all of a sudden going to be turned sideways as look at the truck. It all happens way up there. She gets hard on the brakes. Great job of accident avoidance. You see a truck go rocketing through there that ends up getting collected, but she does the right job. Great driving from Natalie Decker right here to avoid that giant wreck. And guess what? That's going to promote her in terms of track position to give her a shot at the win tonight.
Yeah, that was as smart as you could have played that, and it wasn't so cautious that you lost so many positions. I mean, the only truck that realistically passed her was the one that came sailing through and then ended up in low Earth orbit. But she made so many passes there, just being sensible and doing the right thing. So that was a very nice job of incident avoidance there.
Impressed with the 08 there of Glenn Grimm. He was that truck that went flying by Decker into the wreck, and I thought he got collected more than what he did. He only ended up getting a big door bang out of the right side, so he might be able to continue and, you know, count your blessings after that one, Glenn. That one was close.
Yeah, you got lucky there, Glenn.
Well, everybody, we're working 5 to go behind the safety car right now. A couple trucks getting that pass by, get them back on the lead lap out there. I have a feeling, Trevor, we got lots of racing to go. We're going to be probably going back green with maybe 3 laps to go. And that's prime time for wrecks and over-aggression.
Yeah, that's true. We got to give a big shout out to Tyrone Reed. He finds himself in 8th place after qualifying 32nd here. So he's done a really nice job to claw himself towards the front. And I think that's a performance worth merit here. Like we said before the previous 2 cautions, the top 3 qualified 4th on pole and 2nd. Then from there you have qualifying cars from 28th, 20th, 8th, 16th, 32nd, 7th, and 30th is our top 10 running order now. So really, it is still anybody's game, and we still have 31 trucks on the lead lap here. The last being Thomas Miller, one of our previous front runners earlier in the race, cycling through turn 3 now to catch up. But we've got still really anybody's race here, and green-white checkers, and still lots of racing to go, as you said. Certainly far from over.
Yeah, this might be one of the last opportunities we get, so I just want to, once again, give a shout out to Maconi Setup Shop and Maconi Entertainment, bringing you all of tonight's action. If you're curious about broadcasting any of your own events or have a iRacing series that you're curious about getting broadcasted here on the big screen, go ahead on over to www.maconisetupshop.com. Go ahead and contact them. They can get you taken care of. And if you're also looking to pick up a little bit of speed out there in your own iRacing laps, they offer various subscriptions to help you with that, even one-on-one coaching. So make sure to go on over to www.maconisetupshop.com and check out all that they have to offer. And once again, let's go ahead and over to that number 80 truck. That's Michael Moody, the host of tonight's event. I just want to say thank you to Michael, for putting this on. Love seeing that giant Maconi Entertainment on the hood. The truck is all cleaned up right now. And I know he's got a sidekick over there on his Twitch stream. If any of you are curious what the point of view from Michael Moody is, head on over and follow him. And you can find him on twitch.tv/Moody_racing. And always brings a huge comedic value to his Twitch streams, a riot to really watch and follow. Well, Trevor, looks like we're going to be lining up 2 by 2. Once again, going to be coming up to 3 laps to go this time. The pressure is definitely going to be boiling over. Right now, P1 is the number 13 of Justin Botello out front. Then we have that familiar silver and red 84 of Kyler Wynn. Also, Zach Todriff and Dylan McDonald. That's going to make up your front 2 rows. And I think the majority of the action and the pushing really has to come from those front 2 with such a small lap count left.
I agree. I think my prediction here for the start is Kyler Wynn's going to hold his station and try to take the lead of that artist formerly known as the center lane. I don't think we're going to see a lot of Highline guys outside of the guys in that center lane getting frustrated and losing momentum and trying to find some relief in the upper lane, but I think it's just going to be a move that's diminishing returns there.
Yeah, looks like we got green flag back on the racetrack as they race under Barney here at the start-finish line, which is very late at Talladega. Now, we said we might not see that top lane form, but oh my gosh, look, everyone has abandoned that bottom lane except for the front 2 runners. We got 3 trucks hooked up in the middle lane, that's the 84 of Kyler Wynn in that silver and red truck that's really leading that middle lane, followed by the 38 on screen, and I believe that's the 12 that I saw, maybe the 72 of Eric Royce in that black and blue car. But right now, the bottom groove, that's going to prevail in turn 3, turn 4 here. I think this middle lane has to get hooked back up, or maybe this bottom groove might lead the lap.
It might, and that was a roller coaster lap for Justin Bathello there. He had a really great start, and everyone abandoned him as we have a spinner there going into the tri-oval and another caution flag out.
Yeah, another yellow on the racetrack. Looks to be one car that got spun early in the tri-oval, and then maybe an additional 2 or 3 around afterwards, just kind of as part of the dominoes that fall. Looks like we're going to see the number 31 truck here in the middle lane of Derek Justice, just trying to find his way. He wants to stay in his home, and it looks like once again he gets shoved 4 wide when he didn't really want to be 4 wide. He was just kind of minding his own business, and around he goes.
Oh yeah, and that's sort of the price you pay to have a Baskin-Robbins livery, because everybody wants a taste of those 31 flavors. But really, going back to that restart lap, Justin Bathello had a really great start. I mean, multiple car lengths ahead of anybody else. Then everyone bar one truck abandoned him on that lower lane, and you could just see the energy shift away from them and to that middle lane. But as things progressed, the middle lane broke into multiple factions, including a few that added themselves to the back of the lower lane and really gave them a nice push. And with the number of trucks sort of having an exodus out of that middle lane, the wind out of Kyler Wynn's sails and allowed that lower lane to prevail at the start. But I think once everything settles out and we don't have such a drastic difference from the leader to second place or even third place, my money's still on that middle lane taking the win.
I think you're right in terms of the lap time and the momentum needed here as we ride on board with the 0-4 of Mark Mann. He gets collected here. Oh, it looks like he was the one who might have just got up into the 31 a little bit. I don't think that he was doing anything wrong there. It's just when you start to put too many trucks side by side, the gaps start to shrink, and it's really, really tough to tell who's next to you. And I just think that it got a little bit aggressive there. We're riding on board with Thomas Miller. Everything unfolds in front of him, and ooh, yeah, just try to avoid hard on the brakes, a little bit of contact there. And thank goodness that pace car is invisible, because they would have gotten destroyed out there.
Hey, you gotta love that. I don't know who makes that pace car, but I want one.
He got the launch out of pit lane, because let me tell you, those guys were doing 180 miles an hour around the tri-oval, and he put the hammer down and caught the field pretty fast. I'm impressed out of that pace car out there. In fact, wasn't it at Talladega? If we want to take a trip down memory lane, wasn't it Talladega back in maybe the 80s that the pace car was stolen and taken for a joyride pre-race?
That is correct. I believe that was a Pontiac Firebird pace car. Wouldn't you know it, that was back in the 80s. And yeah, somebody had gotten themselves into the paddock, somehow found the pace car with the keys left in it, decided they wanted to run a few laps of Talladega themselves. Yeah, it's quite the entertaining deal. He's got some really nice racecraft. Once the police started trying to block him and catch him, they were outmatched. And I guess that just shows you the Pontiac power it was pumping back in the 80s, man.
If you all have never seen this, I highly suggest you go on over to YouTube or Google and just type in stolen pit lane car or stolen pace car Talladega and just watch the amazing sight unfold before your eyes. As we're going to get green-white checker attempt number 1. Looks like we're going to have 3 attempts at this if necessary. Right now, the 84 of Kyler Wynn is going to lead the field down to this late start-finish line with Barney waving the green flag here. Justin Bathello in the 13, lined up next to him. Eric Royce and Zach Todriff make up your top 4. We'll see if that energy really, yeah, once again, abandoning that lower lane as soon as the green flag falls. We're going to see if Kyler Wynn in the 84 stays down to the bottom. We've really seen the bottom line be the fastest lane through the turns, and he doesn't want to miss out on moving to that top lane, or the middle lane, I should say, as we get out here. I think he's got to make the move right now and start to lead that middle group if you want a shot at this win. But already the opportunity has gone by, and we have a new leader, the number 13 in the middle lane. That's Justin Botello. He's actually going to move down to the bottom lane. We've got 3 wide racing for second place, the 84, the 54. As right now the bottom lane is hooked up the best. They're going to get the most amount of energy, as it looks like we got another car.
Big wreck.
56 turn from the top lane, as it looks like we got another yellow on the racetrack. That all started with the number 56, the white car, and I believe he was on the top lane there, and I'm not sure if he just got loose or maybe a truck got underneath him and got turned in front of the field, but thankfully not too many trucks involved this time.
Yeah, and that was actually a poorly timed wreck, because we saw some interesting things developing on the front. Both Wynn and Buffalo attempted to take the middle lane. They were contested by Dan Fowley and Eric Royce. So really, I think everybody's kind of figured out the middle lane at the end of the day is the one to be at. And I think it was also interesting because the top 4 were really 2x2 on their own, and that, if that's the case at the end, that can be anybody's game. Really need a lot of those participants in both lanes to keep the status quo of that center lane being the way to go up. But it was really interesting, and there was a freight train on the lower line starting to develop and actually catch our leaders, so it could have really given a lot of momentum to the lower lane. It would have been really interesting to see, but I think we'll have a similar story here on our second green-white checker attempt.
Yeah, it really looks like, I think that there was just a little bit of 3 wide racing as we're still catching more shots. Ooh, huge impact for the 17 there. That was just kind of an aftermath. That's Michael Williams. That was a hard hit down to the inside after the wreck had taken place there. But we're going to work green-white checkered attempt number 2 here. Okay, we're going to have this attempt, and we have one more try at it if need be. So we're going to stack them up 2x2 once again, re-rack them, have some more exciting action, and maybe we'll get to crown this $100 winner here tonight, Trevor.
Yeah, and if we run out of green-white checkers, the 2-man sack race will be held on consecutive Sundays until the winner is crowned.
Well, so I think this is Talladega. I think you got to go full Ricky Bobby style with the 100-meter dash to the finish line.
I think so, but I don't know that our viewers are going to want to see a bunch of sweaty guys in their underwear running a 100-meter dash.
Now, I will say, if we can get what was the old Nintendo trackpad from the NES days, right?
Oh yeah,
you remember that?
Bring those out.
Yeah, if we can get the competitors to hop out of the sim rig, hook up the trackpad, and then do the 100-meter dash, I think that's when we can really crown the winner tonight.
I think so, but one thing you got to look out for are the guys who have modified their trackpads illegally, and they've got them out of spec. So you'd have to tech all of those trackpads after, just to make sure that everybody's playing by the rules.
The constant racer in you, Trevor. I love all the different references, and we're getting everybody lined back up once again. This is green-white checkered attempt number 2 here at the virtual Talladega Raceway. These guys and gals have been racing really clean all night. We've seen a few big wrecks, but thankfully with the green-white checkers and also the faster pairs, we still have all of these trucks on the racetrack. Looks like we've got maybe 3 trucks, maybe 3 or 4 trucks that aren't on the racetrack anymore, but still seeing a field of 31 trucks on the racetrack, lined up 2x2. The pace car is going to dive down onto pit road for another time. Lined up pretty good here in I would say maybe the top 10. Things get a little bit looser from 15th on back. I'm going to see about this momentum from the bottom lane. The previous two restarts, we've really seen all of the trucks abandon the bottom lane as soon as they can, as we've got a green flag here through the Geico restart zone. Looks like Justin Botello in that number 13 is going to take the field across the start-finish line. That's the number 72 of Eric Royce hooked up in the bottom lane. That's going to provide the push down there. But right now I'm seeing the middle lane have 3 trucks, now 4 trucks lined up, working together with the 84 of Kyler Wynn leading that middle groove, who's always been there all night. Yeah, I've got my eye on that, but we've got 2x2 for 4 rows right now up front.
Yeah, now it's 3x2 there in the third row. We've got 3 wide. Oh, we got a spinner there, 4th row. It's going to be another yellow.
Definitely.
Here we go again. Oh, another one late after the caution too.
Oh, you're right. Yeah,
Into
they're
the
coming.
tri-oval there.
Yeah, coming out of turn 4. Actually, looks like we have 3 different wrecks going on, Trevor. We'll get a few different replays and angles of this one, but looks like the 46 all the way up top with the 18. They were trying to run that high line, and oh my goodness, pinball. That is Ricky Bobby. The other cars are going flying through the air. This is not good.
Well, I certainly hope Tom Cruise can help that boy out, because he's going to need it.
Get the witchcraft, get the fire off of them. Thankfully, we don't have fire here in iRacing. I've been involved in a car fire. You remember that in New Jersey way back then in the Continental race, Trevor?
I remember that.
Yeah, got a little bit toasty inside that Camaro. Never good to play with fire, boys and girls.
You know what? And that's an interesting thing you bring that up, because that incident sparked a worldwide regulation in upper-level GT car racing. There has to be a fire extinguisher and a kill switch on the exterior of the car. Because up till then, nobody had thought about it, and it was you having to go back into a burning car to hit the fire extinguisher to save it that prompted that change that is now seen globally in all of your GT, prototype, and touring car racing.
Yeah, well, I don't like to toot my horn too much, but I thought I looked pretty cool on TV when I put my visor back down and climbed back into that burning car, but that's my 2 seconds of fame out there. Back to the racing here tonight. We are doing green-white checkered attempt number 3 here at the Talladega Speedway. Now, this is the final time these competitors are going to be taking the green flag, so they got to keep their act together if they don't want to have that early iRacing yellow dictate the winner. I think that we all want to see the cars cross the start-finish line. It doesn't always end up that way, but I think that's what provides the most excitement.
Yeah, that's true. Certainly the more cars dicing for position and that win, the better the show is. But certainly we've got to get through green-white checker laps for that to count. Otherwise, we're going to end in this is the way we are, behind a safety car, and nobody wants to see that, because everybody's going the same speed, nobody can change position, and that's not racing, that's just parade laps.
Yeah, speaking of parade laps, and I don't like to throw too many people under the bus, but sometimes the FIA do need to be thrown under the bus. Like with the Spa event, talk about parade laps last year, just disappointment. But thankfully, here in iRacing, we're going to get that green-white checkered attempt, and even if it was raining and all the fans were frustrated, we would still throw the green flag out there and let chaos happen on the racetrack, because I think that's what the fans want to see.
Yeah, you got to run it, man. They paid for a race. They didn't pay for a parade. You can get that in their hometown. This is motorsport. We want to see the action. We want to see the struggle, and we want to see person who worked the hardest, kept the nose the cleanest, and drove the fastest prevail. That's what we want to see.
Yeah, looks out there. I'm trying to see. I think we still might have the lights on the pace car currently, as this field is still starting to line itself up. And we will get one more green-white checkered attempt, but yeah, it does look like the pace car lights are still on the pace car. I think we're going to be getting everybody just kind of back on the lead lap here. This is one thing that I do love about iRacing, is that when these hosts, shout out to you, Michael Moody, You know, things can go south pretty quick on the sim, and giving people those extra chances and those fast repairs, it's always nice to have that lifeline. It's not always your fault. Sometimes it is, but sometimes you're the bowling ball, sometimes you're the pins, and having those fast repairs out there to get these trucks back on the racetrack and continue to have a full field of racing throughout the entire race. I love to see it, and I think it makes everybody walk away with smiles and happy, and they want to come back for more.
Absolutely. And I think I'm glad we have one more lap here because we still have quite a few cars who need to pack up, pair up here, so we make sure that we have a proper show and not doing 3-car lanes here. Want to see them 10, 15 deep these last couple of laps just to really let the racing play out the way it's supposed to. And I think looks like we're starting to get packed up, paired up here quite nicely. So maybe they've got me in their ear, but this is looking good for a nice restart here.
Definitely, as it looks like the field is going to be rounding out at turn 2. Now, let's put on your spotter hat for me, Trevor. You're a professional at this. Let's say if you are calling the lead car, the number 13 of Justin Botello right now, what are you telling your driver coming up to the green and how to get into that middle lane?
Well, every start that either Justin Botello or Kyler Wynn has done in the back half of this race, starting from that inside lane, they've gotten a massive jump on everybody else, including the leader of that middle lane. So my advice is going to be unpredictable on the start, get the jump, take the lane, and take the lumps of maybe losing the lead to that lead car on the inside lane. Just know that it's going to come back to you. One caveat here is if we do have another checker, that's how we're going to finish. So track position at the time of the crash is going to be most important should the crash happen. So we've kind of got to catch 22 here, and you kind of just have to play it the way it's going to be played. But for me, I always like to strategize on what's in front of me. The wreck hasn't happened yet, but we're coming to the checkered flag. We know that middle lane's the lane to be in. That's what I would tell him to do, and I would just take the risk of pitching under caution on the chin.
Well, everybody, you heard it here from professional Trevor McClure. He wants his car to take this green flag from Barney as he waves. Justin Botello needs to move up to that middle lane.
He's got it. He's got it.
Yeah, we see him make that potential race-winning move up to the middle lane. Now is when you have to be really patient. I have a feeling that 84 of Kyler Wynn is going to be really pushing it down on the bottom. Looks like he actually jumped down to the bottom to carry that momentum on the bottom lane right now. We're going to see if he moves back up to the middle lane, but right now the field controlled by the number 13. That's the black car out front of Justin Botello, the black with the red vinyl that's being pushed by red and silver number 84, 82 on the screen of Kyler Wynn. Right now, that 3-car train on the bottom is starting to break away as they move up towards that middle groove. Kyler Wynn is now going to take over that middle lane up front.
And you see Justin Botello has now gone from 1st to 6th in a heartbeat. Everybody left him behind.
As we see that middle lane lead that lap. Once again, 82 on the screen, 84 on timing and scoring. Kyler Wynn in the silver and red truck. That's what we've got our eye on as we get the Maconi Entertainment 1 lap to go right now. We've got 2x2 racing for 4 lanes going, or 4 rows going down the back straight right now. These trucks are doing 189 miles an hour going into turn 3. That's Kyler Wynn up top in the middle lane. That's Dylan Kem down there in the 34 right now on the bottom groove, it looks like. But right now we've seen that bottom line prevail through the turns. The middle line really come to speed down the straightaway, coming through the tri-oval for the final time. We're going to get 3-wide action. Actually looks like the bottom's going to get turned here as we're going to get chaos across the finish line. Who's going to take it? I don't know. I think that might have been the number 9 on the screen. Who was that? We got the camera focused here. The number 34 of Dylan Kem taking home the checkered flag as we had all 8 cars. And oh my goodness, a shot to the nose afterwards. This replay, we've already got trucks turned. As we see here, Dylan getting turned from the right rear, but he is going to take the checkered flag first. Shout out to that truck all the way on the bottom. Oh my goodness. Backwards, Ricky Bobby across the start finish line. Holy smokes, and look at these impacts afterwards. Wait for this last one. I was really impressed.
Yeah, that was wild. And it was really interesting to see. Really thought Kyler Wynn had it, and then everyone abandoned him in the middle lane. They started to go high. I guess they felt like they had the momentum, but you really see the wind being taken out of his sails, and that really allowed Dylan Kem to get front. And then Justin Bothello was looking for somewhere else to go to try to make a move there as they approached the line, and it was just impact after impact after impact.
Trevor, you mentioned him earlier. That's the number 773 truck of Tyrone Reed, who finished in the second place. I want to point out that I think the second, third trucks were all within 300ths of a second. I'm looking right now, the top 5 are all within 7/100ths of a second, as we're going to get our results displayed on screen here. Once again, that's Dylan Kem in the number 34, taking home the $100 tonight from the Hot Mom 45. Big win, big shout out to him. Then followed second place, the number 773 of Tyrone Reed, Justin Botello, Eric Royce, and Kyler Wynn rounding out the top 5. Jerry Parker in 6th, Dylan McDonald, Brandon Gass, Zach Todriff, and Colton Ward rounding out the top 10. Trevor?
Yeah, we've got Derek Justice, a previous frontrunner from earlier, the Baskin-Robbins 31 Flavors in 11. Johnny James, Austin Floyd, Mark Mann, Ian Clavitt, Natalie Decker the 3rd, Mitchell Jones the 2nd, Eric Lemke, John Freeman the 4th, and Dan Fowley rounding out the top 20.
In 21st there we have Austin Key, followed with Richard Clement, Jim Clark Jr., Rick Seabrins, Glenn Grimm had that really close call earlier in the race when we rode on board. Thomas Miller rounding out the top 25. Then we got Corbin Hines, Michael Moody. Once again, huge shout out to that number 80 car, Michael Moody, for hosting this event. Couldn't have done it without you. This was awesome. Thank you very much, Michael. In the 28th, we got Michael Williams. 29th, Matt Wheeler. 30, Sean McCara. I'll finish it out here. 31st, we got Simon Lindmark, Mike Little, Alex Linney, Travis Braden, Levi Whitlock, and Ryan Elmore down there in 37th. A couple of these cars didn't quite finish it out there, but just want to say thank you to all of the 37 competitors out there racing tonight. We had some incredibly fast sim racers. We had real-world professionals out there like Natalie Decker, which was awesome to ride on board with and to see. And do you have any closing thoughts, Trevor?
I think it was everything we hoped it would be and more. I mean, it was we have a car that qualified 32nd-ish second. Like, Tyrone Reed is by far and away the hard charger of the day. And it was the usual suspects: Dylan Kem, Justin Bothello, Kyler Wynn, high qualifiers, high finishers, and a finish only fitting for a place like Talladega.
You're right. I think that the finish was incredibly exciting. We had 3 green-white checkered attempts out there. And thankfully, on the third one, we raced it all the way out to the checkered flag with an incredible Talladega-style finish, with really all of these 8 cars crossing the line within a tenth of a second. Heartbreak for the number 773 of Tyrone out there. I really thought he had it on the bottom line. But as we wrap up tonight's event, I want to thank the sponsor, Maconi Setup Shop, as well as our broadcast partners, Maconi Competizone. Calling the action tonight was myself, Joey Atterbury, alongside Trevor McClure in the booth and Ryan Bauer producing. That is the Bearded Sim Racer. We thank the entire Maconi Entertainment staff for their work in bringing this racing to you and hope to see you at our next event. We would also like to thank all of our viewers for tuning in to tonight's racing action. Until then, stay tuned to the Maconi Setup Shop and Maconi Entertainment social media pages for all of the up-to-date iRacing information that you need. This has been another production of Maconi Entertainment, and we wish you all a good night.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. There's a reason that Maconi Setup Shop is trusted by more virtual and real-world tracks and companies than any other setup shop in iRacing. With partners such as Stafford Motor Speedway, the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, Five Flag Speedway, Speed 51, and more. When you want something done right, you go to the experts at Maconi Setup Shop.
With setups available for most series on both asphalt and dirt, built by a team of professional builders consisting of some of the top talents on the service, Maconi Setup Shop LLC has what you need to hit the track with confidence. Head over to MaconiSetupShop.com and learn why Maconi Setup Shop is the official setup shop of Richmond Raceway Esports and is partnered with some of the largest names in virtual and real racing.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.